Morning Year 10, hope you're all really well. Welcome to your first NEA lesson based around mind mapping. So first of all, I just want to cover what is a contextual challenge. So AQA provide us with 3 different contextual challenges every single year. And it's up to you guys to select one of those contexts, research into one of those contexts, identify a problem, and then obviously research, design and make a product that will help to solve those problems. So today we'll be focusing on section A, the identifying and investigating the design possibilities, and it will be for page 1 where we will analyse a specific context. So task 1 for this week, mind map. What is a mind map? Well, in itself, obviously we've got our context that's in the middle, demonstrated here. And then we've got our smaller subheadings which relate off this. In this instance, and I apologise for my little circles, it is the what, who and where. So when we think of sports events and we think of where, we can then go off to list all the different possible sports events and their obviously locations. Then we can also think about the who. Who do sports events impact, or who would likely to go to a sports event? You know, do any of those people have disabilities? If so, and I'll just highlight that there, what are all of those specific disabilities? And from that, you're kind of making little links off that, so it ends up in this massive map that's got subheadings within subheadings within subheadings. But it helps to demonstrate your level of knowledge and your level of thinking, and will also help you guys to identify different problems and which one it is that you'd like to focus on for your NEA. So within this PowerPoint as well, you've got 4 different examples of a mind maps, but for different contexts. So these are all from previous years. This one is based on providing a safe and comfortable home. The next one is addressing the needs of people with disabilities. Third one, supporting developing countries. And the 4th one, public spaces. What you will have noticed with all of the mind maps is that they are really, really clear, and that's what's going to move you up into that higher grade boundaries. So they've added little clouds which run off the main context, and then within those little clouds they've got their subheadings, but then they've gone on to develop that a little bit further. And with this student in particular, the level of language, you know, and the different ideas that he's coming up with enable him to be meeting that higher grade boundary. So I would definitely say to come and have a look at example 4 when it comes to producing your mind map. So within the PowerPoint as well, I've gone on to develop each of those contexts. So you've got multifunctional living. I've given some very basic pointers around multifunctional living. And then I've given you a little bit more of an in-depth one. And then again, it's got the who, what, how, where. So you can start to think about all those areas that you can explore based around multifunctional living. And in this section, again, I apologise for my circle, these are just some possible projects that you could go on to do if you decided to choose this context. So by me placing these here, I'm hoping that you look at that and think, oh, actually, I'm quite interested in that, so maybe I should just focus on this context and producing a mind map for that. I'm not going to go into all of them because you'll be able to see them yourselves. So in terms of layout, you've got 3 options. You can choose to do it online via some of the softwares I'll show you in a minute. You can choose to do it on PowerPoint, and that can be straight away on your BGFL PowerPoint if you wish to. And there is a little link there that you can click on, so it obviously shows you how you go about placing a mind map infographic onto your actual PowerPoint. Or you can choose to handwrite it. One of the main things you need to remember is this needs to be clear. The examiner needs to be able to see what it is that you've wrote. So if your handwriting is terrible, you're going to lose marks in that instance because they're not going to be able to see what level of knowledge you've got. Back to these then. So if you did want to use an online one, just to show you an example, This is also available in App Store as well, which is really good. So you've got two options. You can either log in and create an account, which I would definitely advise, or you can click try out. The only problem is, and I'll demonstrate this now, if you are trying it, it does not allow you to save it. So if you spend 2 hours on this creating something, you cannot save it at the end of it. So if you wanted to come back to it and edit it again, that won't be possible. However, if you were to sign up, create an account, start doing it for 10 minutes or 20 minutes, you could then save it and then come and edit it later on. The software as well does show you step by step how you can create and edit things, so you can go through those yourself. There is another one that's there which you guys can click on if you wish to. So going for layout, in the middle of our page here would be where we would place our contexts. Around here we would list everything that relates to that context, whether that be who, what, where, how, which I'll go on to in a little bit more detail, or whether it be, okay, if I'm doing a sporting event and I was to put in there what, then off that I would list all the possible sporting events that are available and where they are, etc. And then over here we've just got an overview of what it is step by step that I'm asking you guys to do. An example of this would be if I was to place multifunctional living into the middle as shown here. Then from that I thought about, okay, who does it affect? And then I thought, obviously it affects the elderly people because they need multifunctional living. And then I was to think about as well, okay, what disabilities do the elderly people have? I would then write a list of those around there. Then from that, I would think about, okay, for example, poor mobility, what issues do the elderly have when it comes to poor mobility? So one of them could be they have to use a walking frame. Well, if you're having to use a walking frame, you're not going to be able to collect several objects. So your problem in that instance would be, because of the elderly and their poor mobility, they're unable to carry lots of objects. So I could design a multifunctional object which helped them to carry lots of different items. And that would be a perfectly fine area to explore. But obviously you don't just want to do one of these, you want to do multiple of these all around your mind map to demonstrate your ideas. So as I said earlier, these are just some pointers and some questions to help prompt you when it comes to adding those subheadings around your mind map. I will let you guys read those yourself. Lastly, all work must be placed on BGFL as well, so please do not do it on a different PowerPoint where I can no longer access it or Mr. Home can no longer access it. So please, at the end of this, once you've completed your mind map, whether that be digitally, whether that be on PowerPoint, or whether that be by hand, can you go and place it into your PowerPoint within the actual folder stated at the top. If there are any issues or you're struggling to access your account or struggling to upload it, number one, check the video that I will have sent out with this email. And number two, just email myself and Mr. Home and we will try and sort that out for you. Last but not least, on this slide there's just a few examples of some problems and then some solutions that obviously people created. At this point you don't need to worry about, oh, what product am I going to create, what product am I going to create. It's more about, here's your contextual challenge, you need to go off and explore it. I hope that makes sense and I will speak to you guys soon. Thank you.